So my Atlas strat this league is designed around one simple principle. I want to spend as little time per map as possible and progress my Atlas as fast as possible. So in Haywork, I'm taking both of the Essence nodes first because of how expensive Essences of Delirium, with a lot of people playing dot multi builds, and Essences of Horror, with people needing to craft gloves for special meta mods, especially for things like Spellslinger. Will be. After that, I'll be taking the Harvest nodes. These are just, self-craft your gear, so you have to engage with trade less, and sometimes you get some really expensive crafts you can sell. It's one of the best ways to make profit. Harvest is great. Glenitch for me is the least important one early on, but it becomes really important. It's where I want to end up juicing when I get later into the league. So I go for the Legion things first. You don't get increased spawn rate, but when you do see a Legion, there's a really high chance you get something good. This is much more efficient with your time. Then I end up taking the Beyond nodes, especially because Beyond bosses can actually drop maps, and this can be really helpful. It's why I actually go for a higher Beyond spawn rate before I actually go for Beyond currency. Lyra is the big node. So Lyra is where Exotic Goods has gone, and Exotic Goods is great. This is giving you a ton of currency every map, every time you bump into an invasion boss. It's giving you free 6 links early on, it's giving you free Orb of Horizons, annulments, all kinds of weird shit. It was probably my favorite node to take during Gauntlet, and I'm gonna be taking this first ASAP. The breach nodes are always good early on, especially because of how expensive the amulets are. Generally speaking though, breaches are a good way to not lose money. Breach is on the map device, and it's really easy to sell breach stones in bulk, which is what makes this even better. For me, Lyra is the most important region for my league start. It's where I believe I can spend the least amount of time per map while getting the most amount of value out of it. And then in Valdos, I'm taking the Blight nodes early. Normally, I wouldn't actually take Blight nodes early. I don't like doing the Elbrand mission that's involved with it. However, I do think oils will be a bit more expensive, especially with that quadruple anoint amulet. And farming for Blight maps early is just generally good money as well. Immune Response, the node that makes Blight monsters spawn more quickly, also makes Blight a bit more bearable. And then I'm wrapping up with the 2 Harbinger nodes. Just because Harbinger is straightforward and simple, it's not going to be super great or anything, but it will give you some additional currency, and Harbinger orbs, specifically early on, are really valuable so you can push T16s. More broadly though, my Atlas and currency making strategy is actually really simple. Basically, get to T16s before most people can. Farm as many red maps as much as you can early on by juicing them with Scarabs and Sextants and whatever else is cheap, because the juice for your maps is much cheaper early on. And then I want to be one of the few people supplying early T14, 15, 16 red maps, and as a result you can sell these maps for much more if you're there earlier. Basically, my strategy is be fast. It's one of the reasons I skip Chaos Recipe, and it's one of the reasons I don't do anything weird like farming Vol side areas. Frankly, it relies on my build being very self-sufficient early on. And honestly, if you want to push, I don't think you should be playing a league starter that requires anything but SSF gear, at least all the way until late yellow maps. For anyone who's been by Twitch, you pretty much know what I'm going to be league starting with, although because POB isn't currently updated at the time of this video, I haven't actually made public my POBs yet. Those will be coming probably tomorrow. Before the patch notes, I had already pre-planned 4 out of 5 of these builds. And as the patch notes dropped and we saw the new mastery nodes, many of these got much stronger. But basically, as soon as Path of Building gets updated, I'll get back to you, alright?